Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Guess. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, I know I do a lot of Crowder, and I know a lot of people were expecting me to do something more humorous for April Fool's Day, but this year it's taken a lot longer to get off the ground. But anyway, today, Canada hates one religion, and hilariously enough, it's the least conservative of the big three. We're going to get into Supergirl a little bit, and if there's time, we're going to talk about why the left doesn't want you to have kids. I don't want people to have kids either, mostly them. But, again, you have the freedom to choose whatever you wish, but the fact that they push this kind of thing, let's face it, I'm mostly on people that I would rather not have kids anyway. So I'm kind of okay with that. What I don't appreciate is how they do it. But anyway, let's get into it. No Canada.
People, I hate it because there was clickbait saying Canada banned the Bible.
Which is not
No, that's
exactly
not necessarily true. But it kind of is.
You just
Their
can't
House
talk
of
about
Commons
it.
just passed Bill C-9, which means it still has to go through another part of the process. Seems like it'll pass, which basically removes the religious exemption for hate speech. So it used to be hate speech, but it was like, yeah, but if you're actually reading a passage from the Bible, you can't be jailed. Well, that's changed now.
Canada's House of Commons has passed the Combating Hate Act, also known as Bill C-9.
Been a while, the No Canada stinger. That's okay, Josh, come on.
Go ahead. Run.
Come on.
Padres, it's like you're stealing first. Come on, call me out for it.
You can't hear the sound effect.
Yeah, but you can't steal first either.
It wasn't unflattering. It wasn't a fart sound. It was a cartoon running sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can kind of steal
He
first.
doesn't have his headphones on yet,
You
Billy.
can't steal.
You can kind of steal first.
When you ran in, this is what they heard.
Fine, or past third.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's the Flintstones.
Not as fun as Doge Walker RoboCop.
No, RoboCop was so fun. You can kind of steal first.
Before we go. Not right now, but later.
You know what? Yes. You know what? No. Yeah, let's watch it right now.
Oh, okay.
Doge
sorry.
Walker RoboCop.
I was gonna play it regardless.
Oh my God. This is connected to what we watched yesterday with the Doge
legs do
Walker
work.
from
No, it's the machine doing that.
Machine.
the No King contest. I mean, she's shaped about the same as the original movie.
It's like, oh, why were you laughing so much at work today, Dad? There was a guy getting blown away with gratuitous violence.
But it was funny
awesome.
because it was a fat lady with $10,000 of tattoos.
Point of privilege.
Yes.
Oh, stop it.
You can kind of steal first. It's not really stealing first, but if you strike
you.
out and the ball touches the ground or the catcher drops the ball, you may run to first, and if you beat the throw to first, you are safe.
I said that 3
Strikeout.
times.
It's on base with a strikeout. I don't know exactly how you say it. I'll have
It's
to
not
ask a
stealing.
friend.
So 2 things. 1, it's not stealing.
Thank you.
2, I literally said that right after. I was like, yeah, I know if they drop the ball after it gets passed on. a
Nobody
first
heard
strike.
that.
Yeah, nobody heard it.
We were listening to.
Yes, exactly right.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We talked about this
talked
today.
about
it.
You gotta have
Right.
I mean,
priorities.
baseball still
So,
sucks, but that's awesome.
We need to go through the paperwork of me renouncing my Canadian citizenship because I've done it, but I guess it's informal.
Yeah.
We can do that now because
have
I'm not going to Europe.
You should just burn the passport.
I don't have a passport.
Yay,
that's
burn
right.
it
I haven't had a
down.
Canadian passport in
Can we make one
a very
for you?
long time. There's got to be a
Comically
way
large.
to do it.
Yeah.
But I know what you're thinking. Hey, if nothing else, the United States intolerant, Canada overly tolerant, right? With what else would you say about a nation whose prime minister unironically used the term two-spirited, which was basically created like 5 years ago?
I mean, the ship's tipping, right? Tolerable to who?
That whole
Well,
two-spirit thing.
that's exactly right. Because
Tolerable.
they are not tolerant
Retarded.
of foundational tenets of Christianity. That brings us to this week's No Canada. And in case you think that leftism is dead, remember, Jordan Peterson came to prominence. We covered him before he was well known in the United States because of Bill C-16, which was effectively compelled speech, right,
Yes.
using pronouns. Well, Canada has now gone a step further with Bill C-9, and that has passed the House of Commons in Canada. It's going to go to the Canadian Senate,
I call it the
which
House
basically
of
says, yeah, hate speech also includes the written words in the Bible now.
Canada's House of Commons has passed the Combating Hate Act, also known as Bill C-9, cracking down on the public display
just learned how to
of
read.
symbols linked to designated terrorist groups. The legislation,
much going on.
which cleared
It's like the side of a
reading on
NASCAR.
March 25th.
I mean, this is the language to which you speak, so it should
Square.
probably be a little bit
Makes
more.
it a criminal
to the point of
offense to
this,
willfully promote hatred by openly displaying flags or emblems associated with banned outfits. It also targets
Gonna have a seizure here.
intimidation and obstruction at places
focus.
of worship
Banned
and
outfits.
schools. The bill now moves to the Senate for final approval before becoming law.
Yeah.
That's the screen you have when your anchor is super ugly. Yes. But the only one that can do the job.
It needs more tickers.
I mean, he's
Just
not really on the
distract
top,
everybody. Hurry. Fill it up.
I can almost see her third chin. So it also removes the exemption from hate speech laws in Canada that reads, if in good faith the person expressed or attempted to establish by an argument an opinion on a religious subject or an opinion based on a belief in a religious text. Meaning, it used to be, yeah, well, obviously it's not hate speech if someone is reading from the Bible or,
Right.
God forbid, the Quran, but I'm sure they'll have a carve out there. So the
Oh, don't mention that.
yeah, no, it's inconvenient. The Justice Minister, Sean Fraser.
Which is the funny thing, and let me just say that I'm not particularly religious. I think that life is too fantastical to roll it out wholeheartedly. But I love mystery. Like I love the not knowing of it, the belief, because for a lot of this stuff, we take a lot on faith. We trust that people have done the due diligence, and like I know there's pictures and such, but like we take a lot into account as far as, oh, all these Land Rover things are really from other planets, or this is really is a picture, not light years, Jesus, but millions of miles away in space. And these spacecraft that we sent out, albeit they just take pictures, but they just happen to be shot in the exact trajectory for it to pass the planet at the same time as its orbit just happens to pass by this particular direction. That's one of my things about it. I believe space exists and all that, but I don't necessarily believe all these other quinky dinks, but it definitely makes life interesting, because it drives discussion. Same thing with religion. It's about the discussion, but a lot of people, because they've felt wronged by religious folk in the past, it's ruled out wholeheartedly. And only Christians, really. Jews a little bit more, but mostly because Jew hatred's kind of become normalized in the last couple of years in the left and the right circles. But again, I have nothing against religion. I just love calling out hypocrisy when I see it. I call out the religious when I see it, and I call out those who are starkly opposed to religious people. If you, as a leftist, trans person, gay person, are allowed to express yourself freely, and by freely, that literally just means without getting beat up, without being ostracized or cast out of society, you should be able to afford that to people who oppose you, per se. And what's happening to religious people in general, look, Christianity is pretty much the only religion that we are freely allowed to make fun of. And that's just a fact. Why? Because we see it as a mostly white religion, when in fact Christianity was in Africa before it was in Europe. We, as Westerners, we think, because a lot of us, especially the early millennials and late Gen Xers, saw a lot of advertisements, and especially if you're from the Bible Belt like me, you saw that your churches went to a lot of mission trips in Africa, or other people's churches did a lot of mission trips in Africa, and what's seen as third world countries. But that doesn't mean that we brought it there. We were just, or they were just spreading it. I never went mostly because I didn't want to go all the way over there because, you see big animals and you hear about diseases and bugs the size of your fist. And I was like, nah, I'm cool. But, really the only countries that I would want to visit, Japan, maybe Australia. No, because they got giant. Just the coast. If I went to Australia, I would not go anywhere beyond the major cities in Australia. But yeah, all I want is to fight hypocrisy, and like I said, I'm that friend. If you ask me to give my honest opinion on something, I'm still going to ask you, do you want me to tell you the truth or do you want me to make you feel better? Are those answers not the same? Not in this case, no. But yeah.
Said, so it's okay, that removing the religious exemption, it actually doesn't violate.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Where I was going with that. We are so intolerant of the Christian religions that a lot of us, and I myself have been guilty of this, are blind to some of the atrocities being committed in other religions' names. And while I don't hold everyone to that religion accountable, it depends on how fresh they are from these countries. Again, and it's just it's funny how that religion is everything that they accuse Christianity of currently being and more. Has Christianity done horrible things in the past? Absolutely. Spanish Inquisition, some of the later Crusades, a lot of things have been done, horrible things done in the name of Christianity. I mean, but at the same time, back in a lot of those days especially, people were just kind of horrible and finding any reason to be so in general. So
the freedom of religion.
The amendment that the bloc is proposing will, in my view, in no way, shape, or form prevent a religious leader from reading their religious texts. It will not criminalize faith, and to suggest otherwise, in my view, is a perversion of the values that the major religions in this country and around the world stand for. As somebody who grew up in the Catholic Church and read scripture on Sundays my whole life, I can tell you that I don't remember any messages about religion telling you to hate thy neighbor. We are dealing with charges that touch on the willful promotion of hate. That is not a value that the world's major religions stand for, nor would I accept such a change.
Right. He hasn't...
Define it.
He's not familiar with any religious texts.
That tell you to hate your neighbor.
Right. Yeah. Well, neither am I. I am familiar with texts that say sex outside of a holy covenant, the union of marriage, is wrong. I also quite a few about specifically sodomy.
Yeah.
Somewhere abomination occurs, and I know you're going to say, "Oh, going back to the Old Testament." There's plenty in the New Testament as well.
Yep.
Oh, you just hurt me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it hurts
I'm
right here.
sorry.
Oh, what organ is that?
Well, the good news is I think that's your.
It's gone. It's gone. They
It's
took
your
it.
mangina. It's okay.
It's okay. A lot of those in Canada. They're quite sandy.
Somebody sodomized it out of me.
Yes. The Canadian government is going to decide theology. Let's be clear. They're going to decide what is acceptable. It says religions across the world. Okay, do any Islamic country, the place from which you openly accept refugees, the people who've been responsible for an assload of honor killings in your country?
Yeah.
Well, what they really mean is Christianity. Well, here's the thing. Some people might say, well, yeah, of course the government has the right to interpret holy texts. All right, do we have any indicators as to how that might go in Canada? Glad you asked. 2008, the pastor Stephen Boisson was fined and silenced for speaking out specifically against gay marriage, to be clear.
Ugh.
Remember 2021? The pastor...
You should be allowed to be opposed to these things, depending on how you do it. And this is why America, we're something special. You can do pretty much whatever you want, so long as you're not actively, physically harming someone or stealing their livelihood. Unless they say something you don't like, and then it's okay.
Archer, I think it was Archer Pulaski. There are a few other pastors, but he was the notable one, was arrested for holding Mass during COVID. All right? Those of you who've forgotten, this was the footage of him being arrested.
Artur Pulaski and Dawid Pulaski have both been arrested and charged with organizing an illegal in-person gathering, including requesting, inciting, or inviting others to attend an illegal public gathering, promoting and attending an illegal public gathering.
Yeah, you remember
Police say
that
they
shit
served the Pulaskis
didn't just
a
happen in
court
Canada.
order prior
Happened
to
here.
last Saturday's church service, but the brothers were detained because they chose to ignore the requirements.
Jeez.
There's your government for you. Can I get some clarification on this? So there's a protection that was currently in place.
Yeah, they already had hate speech laws,
religions,
and there was a
right?
protection that said even though they've already kind of violated it, this will just give them free reign to violate it.
So there's a protection. So is the claim of the guy who of course this gets in no way does that. Is his claim is like you can still read the actual text, but you can't then have an opinion about what the text says? Meaning like I can read in Romans, because Ocho said that Corinthians was only for them. Let's just go with Romans. It's a bigger people group, I guess. That is a sexual sin, like homosexuality is a sin. I can read that, but then I can't then say to my congregation that homosexuality is a sin. Where's the line? Like I don't understand how they're parsing this.
They'll help you understand it.
Yeah.
behind
It's
bars.
all of it now?
Yeah, the same government that
They'll re-educate you.
Screwed.
yeah, the same government that
And that's another
debanked
thing.
truckers for pro.
I love how a lot of leftists, including people that I know in my own personal life, are okay with re-education camps as long as it's the other side. Like you can't be completely against a certain position or act, but only when it happens to people that you approve of or don't approve of. But if it happens to someone that you approve it happening to, then yeah, it's completely fine. What are we even talking about? Why are you crying about this? Why do you even notice? Why did you even notice these things? Why do you care so much about my opinion?
Protesting said government, and the same government that was assistive in comedians being put before human rights tribunals for jokes. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong here?
That's crazy.
And this is why this whole libertarian live and let live. Like I think people are now waking up to the fact that that doesn't work when you have people out there who have coalesced to actively destroy your way of life and what you believe.
And they will promote libertarianism. And they will promote it to the day they die because they can use it to subvert you.
Right.
They will absolutely be the ones echoing, remember Sneeko? Promoting, hey, don't we have more in common than those Jews and evangelicals, though?
Yeah.
That's crazy. They can.
I'm not fond of most evangelicals either. I don't like Joel Osteen. I don't like the one from my hometown because a lot of these fuckers are on city councils and doing stuff that only benefits them and their ilk, which to an extent, sure, if you need, whatever done to the street that your church is on or whatever, sure, push that. But at the same time, have some compassion, especially for if you're one of the big mega churches or the biggest church in your little shitty town, as it is in my case. But then you'll shoot down something that'll generate a lot of jobs, like, I don't know, possibly putting a Toyota plant that the average salary for a high school graduate would have jumped up $8 an hour 20 or so years ago. $8 an hour more than the highest manufacturing or warehouse gig at the time. And it would have been a lot of jobs. Anyway, continuing.
Control what a pastor or a preacher says.
Yep. And you know what? Well,
When are they going to start?
They absolutely will. If it's passed.
Do they start taking some of the? Do they tax churches in Canada? Surely they do.
I don't think. You know what? That's a good question. I think they probably pick and choose, but generally speaking, they should be tax exempt. in Canada. I'm not familiar with the law. I mean, so many laws have changed since I've moved away as well. I mean, we weren't allowed any type of privatized health care when I was in Quebec, and then there was a Supreme Court case that said, sorry, a lot of people died. We were wrong about that. You can have hospitals now. So they never get it right. And it's this is why nice counts for nothing. I mean, think about this. Think about the worst evil on our continent comes from the place where the stereotype is nice. Canadians, nice. Is it 5% of their deaths are euthanasia? Hey, you know what state is known? Minnesota, nice. They'll hide your kids from you if you don't transition them.
They'll pop you with a paintball in the face if you don't get inside your house.
But they're nice. This is why we need
which
to
is
make
another
sure.
thing. Minnesota, the same state that was shooting people with paintballs because they were on their porch during COVID. People say the internet is forever and the internet never forgets, but it does. It does. It just picks and chooses.
Sure that our children, nice comes in way down the list, especially for young women
different.
looking
we
for
thought
men.
that was for your own
You
good.
want a
We don't
man
care
who
what
is
you think is for
willing
our own
to
good.
die for something. Of course, that'll include you. If he forms a union with you, you need a man who stands for something. And guess what? Someone who's not just nice might be a little bit more difficult, but you know what? Canada could use some more difficult men. Some difficult men so that a pastor doesn't have to be arrested by himself. Nice.
Sorry,
He's
someone
nice.
got me
It's nice. The Bible's not
a
nice.
semi-automatic
Two-spirited
rubber
is
band
nice.
gun. It's kind of awesome.
Somalians are nice. You want to fix it? Hey, the regulations that I said we put into place. Now, I know it's a roundabout way where many women wouldn't vote, but it's basically 1 vote per household, and you have to be a net tax contributor. Okay? You have to be working, you have to be contributing taxes, you get 1 vote per household. If you don't have a bunch of single, perpetually feminist women voting, none of this happens anywhere. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Not just here, same thing in Europe. It doesn't get this far. Because all of this is based on nice. Nice.
Which it's good to be nice to people. It's good to be kind. But do you remember that old song? You got to be cruel to be kind in the right measure. You can't just do things because it makes people smile. And a lot of these things are being voted for by people who hate it when you ask them to smile, which is, funny to me. But yeah, and I don't know. We have a lot of things that incentivize people to just do nothing and be nothing their entire lives, and then we encourage them to be nothing, and we encourage them to adhere to mental illness. Look, for a lot of people, these things are mental illness. For some people, their mental illness is used to make wonderful art, music. Most of the people who wrote the songs that we love, who write the good stuff on TV, are mentally ill. The people who write the bad stuff are mentally ill too. They just don't have the natural talent behind it, so people don't mind so much.
And I was just looking up these stats last night because I saw these angry feminists talking about, all these, femcons who claim to be conservative. They go, the fact is women get out and vote more than men. That's true. That is true. They're also significantly less politically educated than men. And there is a huge wealth of data on this across many, many decades. It's usually a 10-point spread. Take any income level, any education level, right? Control for those differences. It's like a 10, sometimes 15, 20-point spread. So women vote more, but they vote on nice. They vote on nice. And men vote on functional. Not all. But there's a reason that the biggest divide in voting patterns is the gender divide in this country. This is a direct result of feminism and tolerance and Marxism. It's all the same religious dogmatic worldview of who is marginalized. Great, let's side with them because they are useful at the moment to do away with those who are in power, because success equals not nice. We've got to change.
Yeah.
We've got to reverse course. Canada is the byproduct of voting nice. Minnesota is the byproduct of voting nice. Keir Starmer is the byproduct of voting nice. Great. There you go. There are your results.
5.1% of all people who died in Canada in 2024 Use the maid service.
Yeah, I was going by road, and they cold call
That's
people.
the euthanasia service.
Crazy
yeah.
good going by road. I thought you had to
Hey,
be wrong.
Gerald, yeah, you still got that crick in your neck? We got one hell of a discount going.
I got to meet my monthly quotas. Can you imagine? Like a guy over there. Whoa, hey guys, I just got it. Boom, to the boom.
These are the new assisted suicide leads.
Yes.
And you don't get them.
Oh, that's a sketch. I got a whole family. You can totally do that.
ABK, always be killing. Always be killing.
When Canada heard about that
wanna see
miracle AIDS drug, they were like,
I would do one always be chastising, and you literally just berate them into doing it. I would love that.
shit!
Yeah.
But I got so many AIDS patients signed up.
And you know what? Here's the thing, too, is when you don't judge, when you don't correct, do you guys know this, that HIV has been reduced drastically? All other STDs in the gay community are up big time. Did you know that? Because it doesn't protect against all of them.
That's fun.
So people are just like, yeah, you know, the sodomy with strangers, like, you can take a pill to prevent that. It's like, great, so I can now sodomize strangers, consequence-free? We should have read the fine print. There are other things that can make their way into your body,
Through your wiener.
your pee hole.
Through your wiener.
Yeah, that was one of those things. That was going to be the next big pandemic until the case study. People were like, wait a second. Not all how. It's almost like there's a. This is bizarre. There's two gay men and their golden retriever also had it and developed a latex allergy. Maybe there's.
The golden retriever was the super spreader.
Yeah.
He gets around.
And by the way, let's just be. People go, thin is thin. Okay. The further you get off the beam from the ideal, the more severe the consequences. Okay. Heterosexuals who are promiscuous, the more partners you add to it, the greater the risk of STDs. It's amplified, in some cases exponentially, in the same-sex community, namely men, not the same with women. That's just the further you get away from the idea of a covenant and a union, the more people you add, the worse the outcome. And this is so far beyond the beam, not only because you're not within the appropriate gender or sex, which were interchangeable until really 1990-something, but because there's...
Sorry, side tangent. All right, so what's happening here is this guy keeps locking the only door to escape an escape room business. The paper is clues to the combination of the lock he used. Look, this is dickish, but hilarious. I don't approve, but I appreciate. What is that, irony?
There's also a far more promiscuous culture with far more sexual partners. Here's the ideal. Further away you get, the worse the outcomes. That in Canada would be hate speech.
Yeah.
Just take the pill. Don't mind the gonorrhea or the syphilis.
Yeah.
Chlamydia. I don't know which one's popular with the gays.
Just, I don't know. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
So I've done that.
YouTube's is
All
something you're not allowed.
And it's just horrible. Look, I don't agree. I don't like discrimination of any kind. You're allowed to not like people, okay? You're allowed to not like religious people. You're allowed to not like anti-religious people. You're allowed to not like straight or gay or trans or regular. I will not say cis. You're allowed to not like these people. It's when you take action and actively try to physically hurt them or ruin their lives that you become a monster. And I don't care what side does this thing. I do not care. I do not like when it happens to leftists. I do not like when it happens to the right. I don't like when it happens to religious people. I don't like when it happens to name a group, okay? And I especially don't like it to people who are always fighting for their own acceptance when they don't give a shit whether or not you accept someone else who disagrees with them. Which is why I am no longer of the left. Do I consider myself conservative? Hell to the no. But I cannot be a party to the whims of people who are hypocrites to this level. And I cannot be a party to, and let's face it, a lot of this is people who are curious about rubbing naughty bits with certain people. And you know who you are. I know a lot of people from other races who put up with white women's shit because snow bunnies. I know a lot of people who put up with bisexual girl shit because it expands their dating field. Looking at you, lesbians. Like I said, I don't care what you are, who you are. Everyone's a hypocrite to some extent. But if it's to the level of some of these people, then I'm not your enemy. But I will call you out. I'd like to think I have no enemies. I have some people that hate my fucking guts who would think otherwise. But I don't hate these people. I pity them. And considering how sad my life is in general, not so much of late, but in general, that's saying quite a bit.
Nerderotic.com.
See what old nerdy.
Mahler, are you excited? You're so excited about this.
There's infinite things to be excited about. So
Okay, I actually haven't watched
A
this
cute doggy.
either,
Let's
so
go.
I'm excited
This
to watch
is
it with
totally
them.
not a James Gunn film, by the way. It's directed by.
I thought this was going to be his discussion on this. But my apologies, I didn't preview this one, but I like Nerdrotic. I can't think of his real name off the top of my head, but he seems like a good dude. And he's older than me, and he started when he was about my age, so it makes me feel good about the future of the channel. The only difference is he knows how to do stuff.
Some guy who's directed a couple things, mostly TV, right?
Yeah, and written by some chick who's never written a fucking thing in her life.
Yep. James Gunn is not involved in this in any way,
No.
shape, or form.
No. Is
Doesn't
he
have
going to be
anything.
introduced in the trailer?
God, I hope so.
Hi, my name's James Gunn. I'm going to introduce my trailer.
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Okay, I got to go back.
No, it's the image of her that's just like, oh, my God.
Why her hair so crazy?
His wandering eye doesn't look as bad in this one, but it's there.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
And like I do like this side of look. I've always found this interesting about Supergirl, and the story that this is based off isn't necessarily a bad story. It's pretty good. It's not really a super whatever story, but as always, I hope it does well. And I really want to see, was it the Red Daughter of Krypton or whatever the story is? There's a story where Superman gets possessed by Doomsday, and Supergirl gets a Red Lantern ring, and they fight. And it's super awesome. It's two stories, and then they kind of slam together for a couple issues, and then they go back there on their own separate ways. And it's fucking awesome.
Blame Clark. Stick that Clark on it. Really blame Clark for it, you know?
Right.
Because it's his fault Krypton blew up or something, probably.
Well, your people just want Clark to have a rape harem anyway. So why are we missing him that much?
Yeah.
I'll miss wherever you are, buddy.
What did she say?
I don't know.
RSFSU.
You know, for someone who's from a world like that, she sure seems to be just like a regular human.
Runny. I didn't really get it.
Home is
Home is
wherever
where-
you
Getting
are.
white girl
I
wasted.
did not get that out.
I'll
She
be-
just-
I heard I
Oh.
miss wherever you are.
she's supposed to be drunk, guys, because she's a messy girl.
Oh.
So basically depicting a woman in LA. A white woman in
A
LA.
white woman in LA.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
it's
much.
still 8
Right.
o'clock in the morning. Yeah, just go. Can you just go back to the image in the cockpit, please? Look, it's fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 4.
Dude.
It's just
This is not directed by James Gunn
no,
as, okay?
not at all. Not written
We
by
are
him
told
either.
over and over again, it's not an irreverent
As long as Lobo's
space
done
drama
well,
with
I'm
an
fine with
eclectic
whatever
group of
this is.
people who will find the value in found family.
That's his dog. That's his real life dog.
It's gonna be totally different, guys. Okay.
Yeah. Star Lady.
Crypto and I at least had each other. And look, almost by definition runs out.
Yeah, I don't think that's what happens to glass on grass, by the way. I don't think you drop a glass bottle from less than a foot onto a grassy floor and you hear a smash. No,
You mean the ground?
yeah.
Grassy floor.
Well, and he was trying to point out that it's not
I am
concrete.
making
Even
sure
if you
we're
drop it
aware
on
there's
concrete, it
plenty
won't
of glass
shatter
on the
like that.
wicked.
Unless
she's so
it's
messy,
Earth
guys.
glass and this
Oh,
is like
she's
a
so
high
blue
gravity
screen.
thing and they
Look at
explain that in the
fucking
movie.
volume behind, man. It's horrendous.
Yeah, dude, you really can't tell.
Fucking terrible.
What can I do? The Brickens carry the antidote on that person.
Oh my God, it's going to be Woman of Tomorrow and John Wick.
We gotta go get the antidote for the dog. You
Dog.
like the dog, don't you? Therefore, you like the film because you like the dog. You don't want the dog to die. And if you want the dog, can you?
I'm not a huge fan of Az.
Yes, as.
Okay, you know what?
That hurts. Oh.
I love Nerdrotic. I'm not a big fan of Az.
Shit.
Let's
He
do
has
this.
3 days. You can't give up on me.
Oh, arbitrary countdown clock. Oh, here we go.
Well, this is giving me some good laughs already. Anyway,
No, save the dog. From totally not James Gunn looking over his shoulder every second.
I agree with that.
From Games John.
Very, very.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't know that's what that was going to be. Let's do this.
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people.
And look, I understand this is supposed to be like relatable to us as humans, but this is an alien, and the fact that, again, like I said, she's acting like a white girl wasted person, that's laughable. I love him. If that's who I thought that was, I love him.
Oh, miss wherever you are, buddy. Crypto and I at least had each
All right, just pause for the cause so I don't get copyright.
other. Honestly, I thought we were lucky.
Yeah, I agree. That's not how that works.
But luck, almost by definition, runs out.
So basically what's happening is she goes to places with red planets to get drunk. And then she finds some kind of ship to get home, or at least back to where she can fly the rest of the way. But yeah, because she can't get drunk on a yellow planet because something physiology.
What can I do? The Brickens carry the antidote on that person. He has 3 days. You cannot give up on me. It's the crime of the Yellow Hills. He murdered my innocent family.
Okay, I was gonna say where's that part of this, because Crypto's not in this original story, I don't think. So they're adding that because white women love to get the inside of their mouth licked by their dogs.
Just do what I say. And don't die. This does not look like this is gonna end well. For you guys.
Like, she's still, I guess, strongish, but she's not like Earth, how strong she is on Earth. I think she's operating at like Captain America levels, maybe.
Stop. You're hurting my head.
All right, pausing for the cause again. I don't want to get copyright. But visually, not too bad visually. I wouldn't have chosen Millie Alcock for this. If they do Earth 2 with Power Girl, I would probably go like Sydney Sweeney for that particular role, even though she's not necessarily the pinnacle of acting either. I think this girl is probably on a higher level of actually acting. but she looks a little too much like the guy that plays Adam Warlock for my taste.
Revenge. It won't take your pain away.
I hate that bum 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 that's in every preview these days, but you know, fads and such. I like the look of Lobo. I think he's just going to be basically Jason Momoa with face paint.
Beautiful when you cry. A lot of pain, a lot of suffering.
There's no home without you, buddy.
Aren't you the ditz from that dive bar?
Funny. That's what I've been calling you.
Touche.
And again, there is no better casting than Jason Momoa. Probably looking for more the Jason Momoa of 10 years ago shit. Oh. Lobo, Jesus. I always remember the second that I get to search, and I don't even actually hit the search. But I will not catch this in theaters. I will probably watch it on streaming when it hits. Yeah. It's just, like I said, I'm not necessarily horribly against the idea of this movie. I like the story and the heart behind it. This is the story in the new run of comics where she learns to become a hero. And like I said, this could tie really nicely into Red Daughter of Krypton, where she's still kind of going through some things, but this could be the story that at least brings her to Earth to where she will at least don the costume. She'll still space out from time to time. She still has rage and all that anger. But as long as they don't bring her full circle to full hero in this, we could still have a great, great Red Daughter of Krypton special guest star Superman movie, especially if we introduce any kind of the Lantern Corps in any movie between now and then. And really all we need to do is introduce the Green Lanterns and mention the Red Lanterns, or at least talk about the color spectrum and what a couple of them do. And yeah, and even then, that could lead into a really good Brightest Day, Darkest Night situation, which is a great run of comics, by the way.
We struggle forevermore. You know what else is expensive? And by expensive, the view means you shouldn't have them. As a matter of fact, it's irresponsible to do so. And here's one thing I want you guys and gals to keep in mind. Those who've listened to the left for their whole life, particularly the shrieking feminist left.
Hi.
If you have taken their advice, has any of it made your life any better? You know, people have often talked about with the presidential campaign, are you better off now than you were, 4 years ago? Has any advice from the left made your life any better? When they tell you that you're a marginalized class, when they tell you that you can't get ahead, even though we have more class mobility than any other society, when they tell you that you are a victim, when they tell you that degeneracy is freedom, has any of it made your life better? Because this is a big one. And this kind of advice is reflected in birth rates. It's reflected in marriage rates. And our society is significantly weaker because people have bought it. But those at The View are saying this blatantly, and the quiet part, kind of quiet part, out loud. Don't have kids because they're unaffordable and it's irresponsible.
I think it's just really reckless to be suggesting that people should have children when you now know in this country there's this affordability crisis, and for a two-person household, a married household, you need over $400,000 for childcare. Over $400,000.
That's not true. And this is one of the things that drives me crazy. Okay, when you talk about like things like a national minimum wage, okay, you can't have a national minimum wage. You can barely have a state minimum wage. It really has to go by the size of your city and the cost of living in your city. It really does. I don't support the minimum wage anyway, but it's good to have there as, you know, a baseline. But yeah, the same thing with these statistics. She's talking about where she lives, or the national average, which is pulled very much higher in the top direction because of where she lives. And it's funny, the big blue cities that have all these programs that don't work because they pour all this money mostly into the pockets of the politicians that present them, and the propagandists that, you know, advocate for them. But they don't work. You know how much money's been poured into homelessness in California in the last, name a number of years? A lot of billions, probably closer. Like I'm sure it's, in my lifetime, it's been $1 trillion has been poured into homelessness, just in the state of California. And it's done nothing. They actually encourage people to be homeless. They like it. This is another reason I don't take my former people seriously.
Over $400,000. So
People
she's
think this woman's
advocating
smart.
for people to be born into poverty, people not being able to feed those children, people not being able to educate those children, and people not being able to house those children at the same time. This government is cutting all of the services that would allow people to have families and big families
And
and children.
$400,000 over the lifetime of the child, or what?
No.
A year?
It's
That's
a
like
year.
minute
It's an
almost.
annual income exceeding $400,000 to afford childcare.
One
And we're gonna
person.
add
Who is
that
the
this
best
is
fit to lead this
all
nation
over the
then?
country, according to Lending Tree Analysis.
Listen
No,
to
it's
what
not.
she's encouraging. She's saying don't have any thought about what you're doing. Yes, be thoughtful before you have a kid.
Correct.
You should be thoughtful before you have a kid. And perhaps is
But the lifestyle that these people promote keep that from happening. You should be thoughtful before you have a kid. Yes, 100%. And you should be thoughtful and make sure you obtain contraceptive of some kind. I'll never understand. One, as a people, we have way too much just random sex anyway, as a people. Not everybody, obviously. And, you know, whatever, you want to do that for a few years, that's fine. I kind of did it by accident. I got into what I thought were relationships. And then it was just like, oh, no. I'm young in my 20s and don't know what words mean.
about you want to talk to some of those red states about some of their laws about women, because they're not really encouraging women to do anything except flee from them.
Oh,
That was a
so you're
turn.
saying
She went from saying something
red
true
states
to something,
are discouraging women from having kids by not allowing unfettered abortion? It's almost like the policy prevents you from terminating your future child. I don't know. It's pretty tough to follow the logic on that one. But you can't really fact check it because these are the kinds of lamentations that you only hear from the insane. But
Yeah.
key fact number one, because you just heard some stats there, go check the references. We provide a bibliography every single show. You, of course, do not need $400,000 a year to afford childcare. It's wrong on a multitude of levels. So this is the study that The View was citing. They misapplied this 7% of your income number, an affordability formula. They misapplied it to the poorest families. Well, it was really applying to poor families, and they applied it to all families across the United States. Let me break it down. $28,000 a year average, right? That's the most expensive child care option for 2 children, okay? In their own study, and they are suggesting that you should always be spending 7% of your income or allowing 7% of your income for child care. And that's how they get to $400,000 a year. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's how they break it down.
It shows the highest average bracket there, and then you should only max 7%.
It's like the engagement ring formula.
Right.
They're going, yeah. They
3
pick the
months
most
salary,
expensive one. So you need to be making $400,000 a year. And none of them just go, wait a second. I mean, Ana Navarro, who used to be a Republican, kind of does. She's like, wait, really? And she's like, yes, good enough for me.
Go with your first instinct.
Now, keep in mind,
Source checked.
Yeah, 61% of families in this country have no outside child care arrangements. Only 8.4% use a daycare center. To be clear, 2% bring their kid to work. Now, yeah, I'm not suggesting that either. Right? You split the difference.
You know what? I'll give him a thumbs up just for that.
And here's what they'll try and tell you, like, yeah, well, those people are poor and therefore they're miserable. And this is something you really do have to deprogram yourself. This idea
I'm not miserable because I'm
wealth
poor.
Equals
I'm poor
better
because
child
people
rearing,
suck.
that
Well,
wealth,
I'm miserable
that
because
having
people suck.
Material possessions.
I'm poor
will
because
make
I
a
suck.
happier family, or that if you don't have a lot of money and you start your family early, you're going to financially struggle forevermore. It's not worth it. It's reckless. We have a bunch of stats to prove that that's
No,
not
not
true
like that.
as well. So here's key.
No, not like that person who messaged me on the side. No, because if I did that, I wouldn't be poor. Well, I'd be poor because I'm a guy and no one cares. But
fact number 2. First off, we have the data: lower income and single household incomes, or households with single incomes, meaning one primary earner. They have more kids. So the number of births per 1,000 women, if they're making under 10,000 a year, 63. 25 to 35,000 a year, 59. 200,000 a year or more, 48. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, see, that's why we need abortion, and if you want to support eugenics, okay, fine. But we're not just talking about folks on welfare.
And again, Sydney Sweeney makes a joke about her great genes. That's bad eugenics. People want to murder all the babies with a spike in the black community because that's what the person who created Planned Parenthood was going for. True story, look it up. That's not bad eugenics. That's because white women like it.
Welfare. We are
Well,
also
white
talking
liberal
about people
women
who may
like it.
live out in the country, people who may be homesteaders. The only American families, as a matter of fact, who are above replacement rates. And to be clear, that's a much bigger threat than climate change.
Yeah.
Everyone is acknowledging that now. The only people above replacement rates are single earner households. So let me give you the birth rates of working married women. Full-time working married women, 1.9. Part-time, 2.3. Not working, meaning they stay at home and don't use a daycare center, 2.4. It goes up when you have someone at home with the children. And I want you to just think of this. Let's take a daycare. Let's use their number, $28,000 a year. Okay? You stay home. You save that money. Not only that, you have more control, more time with the most important people in your life, your children, and you actually get to raise
I was going to say
them.
the people I met online.
Also, if you're home, you're able to support the primary earner who can actually dial in his focus and typically earn more income. That's how it used to work, since the beginning of time.
What? Supporting each other?
It's okay if you want to work instead of have
Doesn't make
kids.
sense. That sounds
It's
like the
okay if you juggle both. But this idea that you need to do that in order for your children to have financial stability is just not true. And a lot of people have bought this. Let's go to key fact number 3. Beyond daycare, homeschooling is incredibly affordable. And we've seen it explode in popularity since
Well, yeah, but if your parents are retarded, then what's it really doing?
COVID. Why? Because a lot of people were deprogrammed from that previous lie. Well, you got to go to school. People won't be socialized properly if they're homeschooled. Then we
that is
found out
partially
that
true.
actually it turns out homeschooled kids, if done correctly, and they have a good social circle of friends and you take them out to activities, they're not identifying as a cat with green hair and a nose ring.
Also true.
And you get to spend more time with your children. The average cost of homeschooling,
and you
about
get to
$700 to $1,800 a year.
Like it should be.
Now, half, a lot of people go, well, that's nice if you have a ton of money. Half of the households that homeschool earn less than $100,000 a year. And they have 3 or more children, on average in most cases. Again, the data can be different depending on the year that you take. Here's the other thing. Okay, so, all right, we just wiped out the daycare costs. We just wiped out the private school costs. Homeschooling has very similar outcomes, if not better.
They're better.
Certainly better than public schools. Okay, so it's a wash, public school, homeschool, and it's still cheaper because public school is anything but free when you add up all the costs and you add up the books and you add up the field trips and you add up having to go there often, eat at the cafeteria, uniforms, right? You end up saving money homeschooling. And the academic metrics obviously are better. But here's something that's even more important. Homeschooled children, they have significantly fewer behavioral issues. And by the way, it's true for all income levels, all socioeconomic backgrounds. They're less likely to have behavioral issues. They're less likely to have mental health issues. They're less likely to get an STD. They're less likely to be sexually active very young. Over the span of their life, they have fewer sexual partners. They're less likely to be a criminal.
That's right, they're virgins.
They are more likely to have successful relationships of their own. They are more likely to have long-term, healthy, close relationships with
These are all
their
true.
parents.
They'll probably hate you. But you remember when people didn't try to just be their kid's best friend? I see all too often. And you especially see this when parents that have messy divorces try to be the more popular of the two parents, so they try to basically outbid each other for their kids' love. And you'll have some instances, like I was seeing someone who had, we'll say 5 kids, and they one kid loved the dad more a lot. One kid loved the mom more, just a lot. The other 2 kids were shit heels. And then the 5th one was a great kid, but was ostracized for reasons. But that's just kind of how it goes. But the other 2 kids really got into the bidding war. So were shit heels. So anytime that you tried to correct them or be like, hey, how about you go rinse out the bowl and reuse it instead of waking up surrounded by bowls the same way that Jared Leto's Joker was ridiculously surrounded by knives in that preview for Suicide Squad. And just they start crying. Just like, hey, come on, let's go wash these bowls so your mom doesn't have to. Just starts bawling, crying, saying that I was being mean. I literally said it just like I just said it. Because these turn into shitty people. You'll know them online because they have septum piercings.
Prince. Okay, one more.
An outside.
It's an outside. So these are all the things that aren't just quantified as far as income and if you have 1 earner or 2 earners. So it is better for the children, okay?
Far better.
Much better. Here's the other thing. Key fact number 4. It's better for you.
It's
better for you. People with children are happier than people without. And by the way, this applies to
depends on
often
the kids.
People who are, step parents, adopt.
yeah.
Just to be clear, I know that not everyone can have children. It's about purpose. It's about something other than yourself. Think of it this way. When you go and do charity work or you do a good deed expecting nothing in return, right? You feel better selfishly. Kids force you to do that all the time. The first step towards being more selfless is a spouse, a wife, or a husband. Now take that and add complete helplessness. Children, when they're little, are surprisingly easy to kill.
That's not that surprising. Yeah. I could have called it.
So you have to take care of everything and think of someone other than yourself. Parents, those who have children, have better relationships with their family. They have better mental health outcomes. They have higher happiness rates, fulfillment, satisfaction. They have better physical health. compared to those in the same age bracket. Now, I know it's not really fair to compare a 21-year-old who's single to a 45-year-old with kids, but those who are parents, take two 35-year-olds off the street. One is still single. One has kids. Guess what? He's going to be healthier. She's going to be healthier. They're going to have a better mental state. They're going to be happier. And they're going to have closer, more meaningful relationships. And your kids are going to be better off.
It's your kids.
It's all predicated on this idea. You look at New York, Bumdani saying, we are giving free child care, free daycare to all municipal employees. The starting off point is,
show me your freeness.
You should give your kids to the state.
Right.
Sorry.
Look how benevolent we are. The state will take your children for 8 hours a day.
And
people at the View,
state will take your children.
Really, any female commentator that you see has to parrot that, including those on the right. Why? Because they don't want to say, yeah, I'm doing it wrong and someone else is raising my kids.
Which most of the ones on The View, if they have kids, they're being raised by the
better
help.
Outcomes across the board, out of necessity, don't have a public platform because they're focusing on their family and their kids. But let me ask you this. I want you to think of every woman who you've known who's been inspiring, where people go like, oh man, they don't make them like that anymore. She was a really strong woman. Is it a boss babe, or is it usually grandma? Is it usually someone who took care of the family? Is it usually someone who bent over backwards to help other people in the family? Is it usually someone you went to when you needed a listening ear? Yeah, those are the women we admire. Those are not the women who you are going to hear from on The View or really anywhere with a video podcast, stream, Twitch, whatever it is. So it becomes really hard for that message to get out, even though the facts do not lie. They're irrefutable across the board.
Yep, facts
the
lie to me all
totality
the
of
time.
evidence is undeniable. Please go check out the references, and we provide them every weekday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, what you'll see if you watch the rest of the video they were commenting on, they completely missed the point.
Right.
The video they were commenting on, I think, was from CPAC. It was a roundtable or like a panel of people where they said, basically, like, don't wait until you can afford it. Or I think she said, have kids even when you can't afford it, because you can afford it. You just don't think that you can. Don't wait till everything's perfect. It will never be perfect. You're ready. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're married and you guys ready to go? Go. Don't let anything. Prioritize family. That was the message. Work your life around family. I'm not speaking from a position of privilege. I don't have my little card I'm going to hold up.
And again, this isn't talking about just having random kids with random people. A family. Marry someone you can trust who shares your beliefs, at least a high percentage. No one's going to agree 100% on everything, but make sure that you understand each other. Talk about the important things. That way you know whether or not he's a dick or she's a bitch. You know, just know your partner before you jump into something. Don't just rub naughty bits and then be like, oh, I love them.
I had a dad who worked and a mom who stayed home. We were very poor. We moved 10 times before I graduated high school, and we weren't in the military. And it wasn't by choice. It was out of necessity. Mm-hmm. I had an amazing childhood because I had my mom at home. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like we were earning tons and tons of money and just rolling in the dough. It turns out kids can be very happy and families can be very happy without being wealthy. Poor people around the world have children all the time and don't make $400,000 a year. What you're missing? The 7% is like, don't ever let childcare be above 7%. In fact, you know what would be better? If it was 0.
Yeah.
0 would be better. That's what Lending Tree was trying to tell people in their article. And you guys took it like, wow, I got to make $400,000 a year. Let me just do some math for you, ladies, really quickly. If you make $80,000 a year, your take-home pay and this childcare number will roughly be about $30,000. Split it up, right? $28,000 turns out to be about $40,000 before taxes. That's what you're getting paid. Let's double that. You're trading getting your child up before they're ready to get up, because you know when they're early on in life, they don't want to get up by 9 o'clock. They want to get up at like 10. They want to get up at 9:30. They don't want to get up at 5 so that you can take them and drop them off in a stranger's arms and then go to work, come back at 5 o'clock, not having seen their parents all day long, getting indoctrinated by God knows what from who knows who you can afford, and you come back in to their life for a couple of hours every single day for $28,000 a year. No kid signs up for that. Why the hell are we doing it? And that's at $80,000.
Yeah.
That's not doing poorly. That's doing very well. Why are we not encouraging women to do the most fulfilling thing that you could possibly ever do? You've been given the gift of producing life.
Yeah.
cherish it.
It really is. It's and I'll tell you, I bought the I thought I had to wait because I was in media. That's what people were saying. I was like, oh well, yeah, you have to have. I don't want to do a disservice to these kids. And you know what else too? It's important because if men heard this messaging, if they felt like they had teammates, they'd probably be less scared to have kids earlier as well. Because a lot of men out there, if they're young men, their fear is being Mr. Mom right away, working all day, coming home, and then it's you're home. Here you go. I'm off duty.
And I had that for several years. I went to work for I want to say 8 hours a day. It was usually 10 to 12 hours a day, and then I came home and they clocked out. And yeah, it was awful. And don't get me wrong, I love the kids. I just, you work all day, and I'm not saying that women don't work all day, but I am saying that this one didn't. I would sometimes come home, and you can tell when a kid's diaper's been on for too long after it's been soiled. That happened a lot, just because they're like, oh, he'll be home before too long, and they get mad at me if I had to be home late because now I got to put on the cream. But that's not how it works. It's not 50-50. It's 100-100. Like, one person stays home with the kids. One person goes to work all day. Come home. One of them cooks dinner. The other one watches the kids. It doesn't matter who. I do not care. And then, you have a nice evening. Play with the kids. Put them to bed. So you got hopefully at least an hour of just y'all time to have a nice evening. And then wake up, do it all over again, and then have some nice times on the weekends. But too often, and I know too many people who have no gainful employment, have no place to live, have no access to their kids, and they go on vacation at least twice a year because they feel like they should, because they see it on TV.
You both have jobs. If you have one earner and one person staying home, those are both of your jobs. And I know people say, well, yeah, I don't get to check out. I'll hear that a lot. We don't get to check. We don't get a day off. No, but you do get breaks when the kids go play a soccer game. They can take a nap when they're young. You can have them watch a movie. If you have more than one kid, they can play with each other. That man's coming home where he gets maybe 30 minutes for lunch. And you know what? Yeah, you support each other, but understand you both treat it like a job. And why would you treat it any less importantly than a job? I remember being in school one time, and this was junior high school, I guess, or middle school, we call it in Canada.
Yeah.
I remember we had this kind of...
Some places have both. Those places are weird. That being said, I wish we had middle school where I'm from.
This class, I don't know, you call it syllabus. I think it was either Father's Day or Mother's Day.
And
I remember my homeroom teacher saying, because the most important thing is, family. And in the place where I went, Centennial, sometimes your homeroom teacher, you'd have homeroom, and they could teach anywhere from 2 to 3 of your classes. So I remember I'd be in front of this teacher maybe 3-4 hours a day. And I'd go to school, it would start at 9, we'd only be out at about 4. She said this, and I remember thinking, I see you more every day than I see anyone in my family. So it seems to me like family isn't the most important thing. Most important thing is school, because that's how my whole day is laid out. And I was fortunate in that I had parents who kind of shifted back and forth between who was working more hours, but they always made it a priority to be there when I was done with school. And I had friends who would, from, depending if it was grade school, 8:30 to 4, then 9 to 4, then they were at daycare until 6 or 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I did it once or twice when there were some emergencies and I stayed at daycare. It was kind of fun. It was kind of an event. It was a novelty. But I remember thinking, man, they're never home.
Yeah.
Half
hour.
Their
they get
family,
a half hour with their parents. Eat, do homework real fast, hour, go to bed.
That is.
And my dad was disabled, and I basically grew up in a one-parent household. My mom worked all the time. I stayed home and took care of Dad when I got home from school, up until I was old enough to work, and then I worked, and then I worked all the time, and I've basically worked all the time for the last 25 years. Sucks.
It has never been the case throughout all of human civilization until really the 1960s.
And that is the problem.
Right.
The solution isn't make it free so everybody can do this. The solution is burn it down.
Yeah.
Make sure
This is when I'm an accelerationist.
100% burn it down. I'm sorry, it's unaffordable. Think about people that are making $50K a year. A woman making $50,000 a year going, okay, because I'm making that $50,000, I now have to spend $28,000 of my take-home pay after taxes on childcare. They're making like less than $1,000 a month in take-home pay.
Not 28,000 though.
No,
I'm saying just by
that was
their
that number. It's like
their numbers.
you know, it can vary from
but it's still it's
9
between
to
I looked it up.
15,000
It's
averagely.
It's used for an infant and a 4-year-old, and that's the metric they used because infants are more money because they take more to take care of. It's between $10,000 and $20,000 is the national average for that.
Well, and you know what else?
Still a lot of money.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a significant amount of money. You know what else? If you are homeschooling your kids and if one of you is staying home, that means you probably come from a familial culture where the grandparents did that, and you probably have grandparents who would love to spend time with the kids. You probably have relatives. Think about every movie that we watch as kids. It's like, I just want to get out of this town.
I wasn't really allowed because my family hates each other.
I just want to get out of this small town and spread my wings. Let me get away from my family. Let me get away from stability. Let me get away from this support structure. Why? Like that's the exact opposite. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be like a Bangladeshi where you have 16 generations living in a bungalow. But
no, even one is bad enough. But
welcome to the bunghole bungalow.
It depends, yeah.
I would push back on that a little bit because like my parents both work. Those be my kids' grandparents, both in their 60s, both work, both have to work. My wife's parents both at around 60, both have to work.
Sure.
But the question is why? And there's a lot of reasons that are very legitimate.
Pay their bills.
No, but why? Why do we have the bills that we have? Why do we have the lifestyle that we have? That's the question that a lot of, and listen, I get it. Like, trust me, I came from a family where we just did without a whole lot to be able to make that work. But my parents prioritized family.
And again, like my friend, put going on vacay a couple times a year above her own family. 3 kids from 3 different people. It's and this is someone who I was really close to with when we were kids, and I don't know, just it's like every time you turn around, they're going through some new tragedy of their own making.
To me, and I'm not saying you're not if you're doing it, because my sister works and her husband works. I get it. They both work. My mom and my dad worked for a very long time after we were in school and after we were more out of the house. We went to public school. Like, I totally understand that. I mean, I have a lot of compassion for that. You can't fix this if you don't prioritize from a very early position. Prioritize family. So make all of your life decisions based on wanting to have a family and being able to stay home if you can. And there are situations where maybe you can't.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I agree, Josh. I'm just saying, like,
I will say both my parents and my wife's parents are divorced.
Oh,
so and they got divorced, different times. But
yeah.
But that they are all single. Well, yeah, except my dad. They're all single.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
So yeah, they have to provide for themselves, and that does make it more difficult.
Yeah.
And situations are whatever. That's not important. But
well, think about anytime you have a board meeting, you have a company retreat, or probably something in the military, right? You go, okay, what are the priorities? You usually have a chart, or you have a triangle, or maybe you have primary objectives and you have secondary objectives, right? You start off with what is most important. Okay, you're starting a family. What is most important? People going, how to support it financially. Most important should be
how do I want what I want
for
as cheap as possible.
You want to remain a family. You want to prioritize family. Time in a relationship is most important, and everything else supports that. Instead, we go, okay, well, this is my life. How do I fit family into it?
Right.
And then wonder why it doesn't work. Because it does require work, but it's also incredibly rewarding. It'll always be more rewarding than anything else you do, by the way. Literally more rewarding for the vast majority of people than being a billionaire.
It wouldn't be rewarding if it was no work.
Right.
Yeah. You were just sitting around all day, trust fund baby or whatever.
Yeah.
Not have to do anything all day. I mean, you get bored.
Yeah. Yep.
You gotta do something.
If you have a family,
I'm glad that I didn't come from one of those families because that would be very lame, like most rich people.
And have longer relationships that are more meaningful. Those are the stats. Go check the references. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube?
But yeah, no, and again, sorry, this is just mostly me making snippy comments, but I give a few personal examples on it. But everyone's different. My dad wasn't sick when I was conceived, I guess, but he was diagnosed the same year I was born. He had multiple sclerosis. He had otherwise known as MS, which is why MS Now, the news organization that was MSNBC, is so funny to me. Because it's just as mindless as MS made my dad toward the end. But, you know, we all are dealt certain cards. We got the cards. Some people got them. Some people don't. But you take what you're given and you do your best with it. And some people are fortunate enough, like one buddy of mine from high school, he met the love of his life real young, like junior high. They've been together since like 10th grade. And they're still together and they're still going strong as far as I know. He seems really happy. Their politics different a little bit, but they agree on enough to keep it going and keep it functional. Some people go their entire lives chasing pipe dreams, always wondering what else is out there, which is great if you're more of a conspiracy theorist. But if you always wonder that in terms of relationships and people, then you're never going to be satisfied with whatever you have. If you keep pining for, oh, such and such was so hot in school, then you're always going to wonder about that. And then it's like, don't meet your heroes. If that ever happens for you, then you'll just be like, nah, that happened for me too. I got a chance to date a couple of the objects of my affection, one from junior high, one from high school. I messed up one of them, but the other one was just like, bleh. I think, yeah, it was bad, but that's a story for another day. Sorry, today's been more of a nostalgic trip for me. Like, again, I grew up in the Bible Belt. So trying to find my place. I didn't fit in with Christianity. Christians rather. Christianity's fine. And I didn't fit in with people who believed what I believe, because no matter what you believe in, there will be purists. You had this with religion. You have it with the modern left. Your thoughts will never be pure enough. You have to agree with all the things when it comes to a lot of these people. Because the same people who are pushing the religion of the modern left are the same, most of them are the same people who were pushing regular religion back in the day. It's a part of that, part of the extremists that we all used to laugh at 10, 20 years ago. And then people who just want to fit in, or people who felt dejected by said group, by the first group of people that I just mentioned, when they were on the other side. And then now that they're on their side, they're like, oh, wow, I get to be friends with this person. And then they find themselves ostracizing people who have loved them their whole lives for the cult. Anyway, guys, I've been Alfie Animus. You guys have been awesome. This has been the Associated Guess. This show's been a lot more serious than I intended. Eventually, I'm going to change the moniker for the morning show and put the Associated Guess on a show that I've been working on getting started for the weekend, and that will be the Associated Guess. But yeah, anyway, this has been